Gala, I know you were sent out of your home with your family in September 2023. Can we start with just talking about a little bit of what happened then? Just maybe the facts of how you were exiled, if it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, September 2023 was just a usual day. It was Tuesday, and kids were in school, parents were at work, I was at work, it was my husband as well. And it was something around 11 in the morning or 11 something, I don't remember exactly, but we basically heard shootings and explosions around Stepanakert. And, you know, we didn't expect that, but somehow deeply inside you, when you hear that, then you find out that a part of your soul always expects something like that. And, you know, we just run. And we just run to see where the kid is, because kids were at school. It was just in the middle of the school day. And there was a chaos in a town. People were trying to find their kids. Kids were on the basements of the schools. The phones were not working. There was no connection to each other. So it was a huge chaos. We were lucky because my daughter was with nanny, and they were at home at that point. She completed her classes, so we went there. And that day, a night, and the next day we spent in the basement of our building. Don't going out. I mean, we could go basically stay in our apartment, but because of the kid, she was scared. Back in 2020, she was younger. She was little. She didn't get it. And we try somehow to avoid, so she's not getting too much of what's going on. But this time it was very difficult. She heard everything, and she was very scared, you know. So I was spending just all my time next to her, trying to make sure that she's comfortable, if you could say comfortable at that time. But anyway, so, and then the next day and day after, you all know what happened. Basically, people were forced to leave the places they were living. There was a lot of things going on. You know, the road was open. At some point, we got the information that we have to leave quickly because the road then is going to be closed. Whoever left, but then the rest of the people is going to stay. It's like a vacuum. They will open the road, the mice can jump, run out. Whoever runs out, that's it, and then it's going to be shut down, the road, and you're going to stay there.
And what happens if you stay there?
Who knows?
So the uncertainty, you don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. No, we even didn't know if the road is going to be open today, next day, how many days. We didn't know how the thing is going to be, like the uncertainty, because there was no connection, there was no electricity, no gas, a poor connection on a mobile, and we hardly could get any information what's going on. And it was a total chaos generally in Artsakh, because people didn't know what to do. What is the next step? But there's only one thing which is in everyone's mind. None of them who've been in Artsakh wanted to stay there and integrate. Everyone was thinking that we will not stay if we'll be forced to stay and integrate. So when it came down to the point that that's it, it's the end of story, Azerbaijan, surrounded all the areas, and they are basically coming into Stepanakert. Then it was like that for everyone to make a decision that we're leaving.
And when you say leaving, what you said they got to get out? Is there like a direction once you get out, or you got to get out of your house? Are they saying take this road and it'll lead someplace, or are they just saying get out of your house?
No, it wasn't like someone said get out of your house, but generally there was understanding that you can stay here because you are surrounded, and it's like a circle, and there is only one way out to Armenia. You
Okay.
either take that and stay alive, or you're gonna be staying here and no one knows what's going to happen with
So
you.
this is important. The option is to go to Armenia.
That's
That's
the
where
only
they're sending you. Yeah.
that's
Okay.
the only option.
Okay. Okay. So you leave that day with your family.
Yeah, we were lucky. A lot of families didn't have cars, and at that time, because of the blockade, and the blockade was since December last year, and we are in September. For 10 months, there was a blockade, and there was a shortage in fuel, and a lot of people and families, they didn't have fuel to fill in the vehicle and be able to go out. So, and in the last day, there was a stock of fuel in a military unit, and there was a huge explosion. A lot of people died because of that. I mean, we've been there as well. Our family, we went there to take some fuel, and God kept us, basically. We left, and 10 minutes after that, there was an explosion.
Mm.
So yeah, we jumped into the car. We didn't take anything with us, just unnecessary clothings and some personal, things like photos,
So
a memory.
memories. And what do you do in this case? You lock up your house, and you see everybody in your neighborhood, the whole city. We're all walking out, and there's no resources. I only remember the pictures that came to us, and it was just long lines on the road, right? And you're heading to Armenia, and now you get to Armenia. What is here? Are they waiting for you here, or was there any resources for you once you got here?
The very important thing is back to that time, we've been in blockade for 10 months. And saying blockade is really totally was nothing to buy in a shop. Really, shelves are empty. But the funny thing is, and I do remember that clearly, we were ready to live like that. We were telling one to each other every day, that's okay. You're going to be fine. We're going to grow up potatoes and, eat some greens.
Yeah.
But we are here. This is our home. We're going to stay here. We're happy here. We're going to take wherever it takes us to get to the point when we will be able to live in our houses, in our land, free and secure. So everyone was ready to go through that.
Okay. So you get here now, and I know that there are certain, obviously, you got 120,000 people now coming into a relatively small area in Armenia, and then Armenian government designated you to different cities, from what I understand, right? Mm-hmm. Some went to Vanatsor, to Gyumri, some are here in Yerevan, right?
Yeah.
And what resources were available to you coming in? I imagine as Armenians, you were all welcomed.
Yes, I need to mention that when we first crossed the border of Armenia, there was a lot of people in Goris, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people sitting there and just literally, giving all the support they can to us, to guide us where to go, try to set up the places where people can stay, provide food and clothing. It was a huge amount of people, standing there and waiting for Artsakhis to take care of.
Good.
And that was very important for Artsakhis, because we've seen that
If it's
we always be saying that Armenia is our motherland, but we all knew that we left our fatherland. So it's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I do remember when we crossed the border, there were young volunteers standing next to the road, and they were just throwing the snacks and the burgers, like, sandwiches, and the water to the car, because the cars were not stopping. It's a huge amount of cars. And they were just throwing that into the window, so we were able to drink something and to eat. And I remember my daughter, she opened that sandwich and she's seen the sausage inside. She was like, Mom, this is sausage. Can I eat it? I said, of course you can. We've been passing the board, and Azerbaijani militaries, whoever were standing there, they stopped us. And then the cameraman came to the vehicle, and they started to give us the bottle of waters. And we said, no, we don't want, basically. But they, whatever, they were shooting that, they were giving us water. And, we were very thirsty. We wanted to drink, but we didn't drink. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, stubbornness there, huh?
Yeah, so, I was very supportive. A lot of people were there in Goris. It was a huge amount of work done by voluntaries, the governmental bodies.
International aid?
Maybe, yeah, international as well. It was a Red Cross definitely there, I could see. And, was the food there, the clothings there, the places to stay. And they were guiding people to different places in Armenia, saying there is a house there is a place there, you can go and stay there and here. So that was a huge support to people who were just don't know what to do and don't have places to go to. And my family, we came directly to Yerevan, to our relatives, and stayed there with them for a while, and then we just rent the place, and we continue to rent the place in Yerevan. We stay here and don't go to the regions, because my daughter goes into the she was studying Russian back in Stepanakert, and the schools, the Russian schools, like learning Russian, are only in Yerevan, so we were forced to stay here. And it's very difficult to find something to do in a village unless you're not used to do it, like you're not used to work with the land, grow something, which we're not like that. So we decided to stay here in Yerevan. And my husband was trying to find a job for a long time. It was very difficult to do. Apparently, we understood that first, it's a very low salaries in Armenia. And by saying lower, maybe they're not lower when you stay in your own apartment and house and you don't have to pay the rent. But if you are paying the rent and utilities, and you have to buy clothing because there's nothing what you brought with you, and some other things, you end up not having enough money for that. But there is a governmental, it's going to be ending as 31st of March, a governmental program which supports the refugees. The program itself is basically, the government is paying 50,000 drams to every person in the family as a support to pay for the rent. Mm-hmm. For example, there's 3 of us in our family, my husband, my daughter, and myself, so 150,000 drams to pay the rent. And the rent in Yerevan starts from 250,000, which is 100,000 more what we get. Yeah. That's a great support, but unfortunately it comes to the end of March this year, and it's going to be today is going to be a protest where all Artsakhis would like to go out and say that we still need the support from the government, unfortunately. A lot of people from Artsakh are not able to find a good job. There's not too many things to do in Armenia itself as well. You know, there's no factories, big factories, no places where people can go and work. And the money they can gain are not too much as well. For example, in the case of my family, if we're 3 of us, and the rent is 250, but we're getting 150 from the government, we have to work and be able to put on top of that 100,000, pay utilities, and also to be able to live. So if you don't have a job and you're not able to do it, the governmental support is an only source of income.
And so we're at March 2025 now, exactly a year and a half after you've left your home. And there's 120,000 people throughout Armenia. I think some went to Russia too, right? Was that right?
Yeah, a lot of people moved to Russia.
A lot of people. And was that on their own doing? Because they couldn't find employment here, or were they assigned to, were they sent there?
No, I think they all would like to stay here, but they realize that they're not able to do anything here.
Provide, yeah.
Yeah, to provide, you know, there's no income for their families, and whoever had relatives in Russia or places in Russia to go, they just did it.
Now, and you have to tell me if you feel comfortable answering these. I've known you for years, and I know the passion you've had working for the Halo Trust for years. And now I understand that you have new opportunities. What I know what makes you tick, that you did that kind of work. But what about now? You're thinking about continuing that line, right, of assisting people when you yourself need assistance, right? And if you could just maybe briefly talk about what you're going to be doing now, and only if you feel comfortable, please. If you don't, just tell me.
What I can say and what I get from my own experience in life, this is not the first time for my family when we are leaving our home. Originally, my family is from Baku, and we left our homes back in 1988. I was a kid at that time. Now I'm not a kid, but there's not a big difference. But what I get from my own experience is you have to give some recovery to your spirit and soul. Otherwise, you'll not be able to survive. If you continue to sit down and just thinking what happened and going, you know, deeply into your thoughts, why that happened to me, what I have to do with that, I don't think you will be able to continue to live properly. Like, you know, your soul is going to be fading out. What you have to do, you have to give some treatment to your soul. And one of the way what you can do, you can assist and support others and recover yourself. You know what I mean? It's like you have to do something.
Yeah.
The most important in your life is to move. You have to move, not only physically, but spiritually as well, and move toward the right direction. What gives you the most satisfaction in your life is when you are in harmony, when you're in love, when you are honest to yourself inside yourself, and when you can do something which brings a light into your life and to others' life as well. Mm-hmm. And then you should do that. I definitely know that it's a huge satisfaction to my soul when I do something for others, when I'm able to do that. I know that everyone needs, everything comes down to money as well in this world. We have to have money to live, basically. That's that. But and now even more than in the previous years, we need that financial support to be able to recover ourselves, to maybe have another flat or another apartment or do something. But the most important is to try to save your soul. not get into the hate, not get into, being upset, not getting down. Don't put your hands down. Keep up.
If anybody has a reason to be hateful, certainly you, the people that went through that. And I'm wondering, you're raising a daughter. Can you talk a little bit about what is that? How do you get over the anger? And how do you prevent it from turning into hate? Because obviously you can have both, right? You can be angry and you can be hateful, or you can't. The anger is there, but how you react to that anger. Can you tell me a little bit about what you use to get over that?
Yeah, it's a natural feelings. When you get angry, you can get angry in your day-to-day life. That's okay. That happens. And hate, for me, hate is such a strong feeling, probably as much strong as love. And I cannot share that feeling with everyone. I think to be able to hate, you have to be really, really damaged, have a damage in your soul. The person can get into that very, very easy if something really bad happens. I was thinking the other day, like, why I don't have that hate in my side. Why inside me? Why I do not hate, for example, people or whatever happened to me. First, I don't want to damage my soul. That damages everything. It damages my family, damages the feeling, damages people around me, damages my future as well, and everything what I do. But I also do understand people who have that feelings. First, because either they don't understand what they feel, or their soul is as much damaged that there's no other feelings there, just a hate.
Yeah.
I do have a child, but I'm trying to
not promote
explain to her that there's always light and dark. There is autumn and spring. There is a summer and winter, and there is a balance in this nature and life. You have to balance yourself.
Can I go back to when you left, that order to leave? Was that given by the government, or were they neighbors of yours? Did the people that you lived with, were they the people that got up against you, or was it a government order that came in?
It wasn't like an official government order. It was just around. It's like in the air. You smell it.
You smell it.
You smell it that this is time. This is what you have to do.
And can you tell me a little bit about what's there now? Like, obviously you can't go back there, but if somebody went back there, would your house be there? Or have they inhabited it? Are there other people living in your places?
It's a lot of shortages in internet. We can see what's going on there right now. There's a lot of changes. They destroying the buildings. They building up something new. I don't know if that happened right now or not. I'm not sure if the place where I was living is still basically stands there, or they just destroy it. But our cemeteries are there.
Yeah.
I don't care about the house, but I would like the cemetery to be there.
Of course. And when you talk about, we talked about hate, obviously if they're doing this kind of thing to destroy and thing, it's motivated by hate from their side. Would you say that, or am I reading too much into it?
I don't know, might be, but for me, they're destroying the memory.
The memory, and that's probably the biggest thing. But what I'm getting at is if they're motivated by some kind of a hate towards Armenians, and you're countering that without being hateful, I don't know if we want to push it to being understanding, but you're not countering hate with hate. That's interesting. I mean, if anybody had a reason to be hateful, nobody would blame you if you did, but you're choosing a higher ground by not being hateful.
I can go down to hate, but I know that nothing good will comes out of that. Mm-hmm. if I knew that that feeling is going to change something to the better for me, for my family, for the nation, for people, maybe I will go down to that. But it doesn't give anything. It just destroys you.
Sure.
I can destroy myself, then I destroy my daughter, destroy my husband, destroy everyone around.
Exactly. Can I just ask you to share just a little bit of what is your biggest challenges right now? Is it financial, making sure that you can make rent and food on the table, or are there bigger challenges? So, what are the challenges for you and your people and Artsakh?
Yeah, definitely there is a financial. I would say financial aspect is now more than anything else. Mm-hmm. But also saying that, I was not crying since September 2023 until 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was the first time I really cried. There was a reason why I started to cry, but at the end I realized that I was crying because of Artsakh. It doesn't really matter, whatever. All your feelings go back to that. What we're trying to do right now, dear Vazken, we're trying to push the feelings and emotions on our back and trying to survive. Well, I'm talking about myself. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to save what I had there, the beauty of my life there, untouchable. I don't want to cry. I miss it a lot. I know that, but that's in the background. I'm just keeping it there like that, trying to save it. And also trying to understand how to live in the present. And a financial aspect of that is very important. Whatever we do, we don't have place to live. There is no home, no apartment, no land. We have to start from the scratch, from the very beginning. And yes, everything goes for the money, basically.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a big thing too, yeah.
Yep.
Providing. Anything else that you want me to know? You want people to know? If you had a chance to talk to the world, what would you say?
What do I say to the world? Whatever I say been said before me 1,000 years, and probably will be said in another 1,000 years. Unfortunately, people stay the same. They're not learning from the previous history steps. They are just continuing to do what's been done for 1,000 years. But I can't tell everyone, that there is only one important thing in this life. Everyone comes to this life to be able to create something. We all are here to create. We've been created with a purpose to create. We've been created with a purpose to improve whatever is around us. We'll not be able to do that if we are not able to create something good inside us. You have to be able to improve yourself, to improve your surrounding. That's what I would really want everyone to understand. Be able to improve yourself and create something good. Start with you, and everything around will go as well.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.